Hello everyone, I am online. I am so sorry, huge apologies about before. Usually my internet connection is perfect for Wi-Fi, FaceTime. Today though I think it decided not to work, so best laid plans. I had my tripod, I had my lighting, I had everything ready. Didn't work, so now I am here. I'm broadcasting to you from a lovely Emirati shisha bar. I do apologise if there's background noise because there is a football match on at the moment. So I do apologise if there's background noise, it's a bit noisy. But obviously for next week's I will research a really quiet place, or I'll contact my internet provider to make sure that I can Facebook Live for you, no problem, and on schedule. So huge apologies again that it was so late. I could say a huge welcome. If you are here, please send me a like, please leave a comment. Let me know that you're here, that would be fantastic. My name is Circa Coyle and I am the founder of Empowering Expat Teachers. I want to say a huge welcome to all of you. I've been teaching abroad for the last 5 years in Qatar and Dubai, and my mission is to empower you to get your ideal teaching job abroad, one that is personally, professionally and financially rewarding. I have had absolutely fantastic time as an expat teacher. I have really enjoyed it. I have always had a positive experience. I've always loved my schools, my staff, the country I'm in, but not every expat teacher has had that experience. And I have heard some horror stories, which is why I decided to set up this community to sort of ensure this doesn't happen, that people can research, they have a safe place to ask questions. Sorry, my laptop lighting. They have a safe place to ask questions. They have a place that they can... Oh, hi Catherine, how are you? Sorry. Catherine... As I had a question, Catherine, I'll come to your question in a second. Thank you so much, I'm delighted. Thank you for being here. Basically that was my mission. Today we're going to talk about researching, finding and getting your ideal teaching job abroad. So what you need to do to research a location, a school, a school's vision, a teaching package, and then how to decide if it's the best fit for you and to make sure you're getting the best deal possible as well. Catherine has already brought it up. She asked about recommending search associates. As you know from my blogs before and from different posts I have posted, I'm a big fan of applying directly to schools, mainly through websites like TES, Guardian, and different websites like that advertise reputable schools' job ads. However, I have to say with Search, I used Search last year, and even though I did not go with them finally for my current job, I actually found my current job on TES. I did use them and I was really, really impressed, I have to say. I do have a feeling that you would best use them if you are a teacher, an expat teacher who already has previous experience, because most of the staff, most of the teachers I met there had all worked abroad before, and they were coming from different parts of Asia, Middle East, and they were coming together to find a job. And I have to say, yeah, I would really recommend Search Associates. They're absolutely brilliant. Register with the UK branch, because in that way you don't have to pay a fee. Because I think if you register with the American branch, you need to pay them to find you a job. Where in the UK, I'm almost sure it's illegal for a recruiter to charge you. So if you register with the UK branch, you don't have to pay. It's completely free. But I definitely would recommend their fairs. I went to the one in London, absolutely brilliant. It can be a bit manic and it can be a bit stressful, but it's the best way to make connections, make contacts, meet heads in person. So I definitely would recommend Search Associates as one of the teaching agencies. I would definitely recommend that. So going back then, if you are a potential expat teacher, I hope we've got lots of them tuning in today, and you are perhaps at the end of your teaching qualification, you're thinking you're going to move abroad. If this Facebook Live is for you if you have been teaching. Perhaps you've been on and off, you haven't got much job security, you want to have a permanent contract, you want to have a good salary, particularly in the Middle East, a tax-free salary. Also, if you're perhaps talking to us from the UK and actually, you haven't got a great work-life balance, the paperwork is really starting to mount up, and you want to make that move. Okay, so this is really for for all teachers, but particularly I will focus particularly in this particular Facebook Live on teachers that are new to the whole kind of expat process. So, sorry, I got my notes here. I had it all set up nicely and, script-like, but now, unfortunately, best laid plans and all that. So, I said to you about my mission, that I really want to empower you. I realised there's no central location for teachers who are considering teaching abroad. There was no central location where they could ask questions. There was no central location where they could get information, impartial information, unbiased information. A lot of the articles, etc., online were articles by teaching agencies and recruiters. So I just thought, as an expat teacher, I think it'd be great for you to have some independent advice from someone who's been there, who's applied for lots of different jobs. I have friends all over the world who've applied for lots of different jobs, and they've been absolutely fantastic. They've been doing their podcasts with me, and that's been absolutely amazing. And if you haven't already, please do check out our podcasts. They're really, really invaluable. I've been so lucky. Teachers from Doha, from Dubai, from Singapore, from Kuala Lumpur. And in the next week or two, I will be talking to teachers who are working in international schools in Hong Kong, also in Beijing. This week I did an interview with an ex-headmaster, a recently retired headmaster of a prestigious British school in Doha, Qatar. And it was absolutely brilliant. And I will be publishing content from that pretty soon, because he answered amazing questions, gave such insights into what he's looking for, or what other head teachers are looking for when you, in a candidate, best fit, what kind of skills they want to see, what kind of qualities they want to see. And particularly Irish teachers, I asked him about the fact that maybe Irish teachers have trained in a different education system. Would that put them at a disadvantage when they're applying for the British system? Because a lot of the schools abroad are British schools. And he was quite reassuring and said no, but he said sort of traits he would like to see in all applicants. And that would be really, particularly for Irish teachers, if you've done your Master of Education in Ireland and you're a little bit worried about applying to work in the UK, he gives some really helpful tips about how you can best adapt, how you can impress an interview, what you need to be willing to do in order to, have your chance at the job. Okay, so again, thank you for all those likes. I see the likes going across the page. So the problem was, again, I've had so many messages from teachers saying, please point me in the right direction. I've absolutely no idea where to go. I've no idea what websites to check. Do I need to go to an agency? Is it compulsory? Is it possible to do it yourself? So I had so many questions like that, and I just thought, I'll do the Facebook Live and clarify everything. First of all, it's not obligatory to go to an agency. You do not have to go to an agency. Twice I've been to an agency, actually. I went the first time, if you read my blog post from a few weeks ago, I did it the first time I applied to go abroad because I was unaware of the process. And I applied through TES, and I applied the International Jobs Forum, and I'll put a link to that in our notes later on. And I applied with a recruiter, a generic recruiter. And if you read my blog post, I did say that I was much more comfortable with the job I applied to directly through TES because I was able to talk to the head teacher. I was able to email directly, ask any questions. I felt very reassured. He could tell me the vision of the school. He could tell me about the students. I felt like a really good insight. With the recruiter, when I did my interview, it was a generic recruiter. He wasn't a teacher. He couldn't tell me. He was recruiting for a group of schools. He couldn't tell me exactly where he was, where my school would be, because it was a group of schools in the UAE. And for me then I just thought, actually no, I think applying directly is the best way to go, because you have so much more control. You can ask for a salary scale, you can ask for what are the advantages, you can perhaps negotiate if they want to give you furnished accommodation and you would prefer to have an allowance. You've got room for negotiation and much more control over the process. So sorry, that was a long answer. The short answer is keep your options open. If you feel, actually, it's my first time, maybe I should go with an agency, you absolutely do that, but also please do apply directly. Please check out my cheat sheet that I will put in the notes on Facebook, and actually I'll give you an updated version. I now have 8 websites that you can apply directly to. So from doing my podcast, talking to people, I've got so much more information, much more knowledge for you, and I want to share that with you. And use those websites to apply directly, because you can see the requirements straight away, you can see where the school is, you can see its vision, you can see the student body. So absolutely keep your options open, and I definitely do both. Okay, now I want to look at some of the questions I had. Best time. So where to find teaching job ads online. Again, the TES, the Guardian. If you go the COBUS website, so the Council of British International Schools, on their website they have a vacancies page. You also have it in, if you do your research, and a really good website in the UAE. I don't know of one in Qatar actually, just as yet, but it's called whichschooladvisor.com. Or if you just Google Which School Advisor UAE, there is a brilliant resource. It's actually for parents more so than teachers, but it's a fabulous resource because we can go on that. We can look at British schools, you can filter them, you can see the rating, because KHDA is like the Ofsted in UAE, and you can see what the rating they were given, you can see what their student body is made up of, you can see what curriculum they teach. So that's a really excellent resource. Also on the Empowering Expat Teachers Empowering Expat Teachers community, Facebook, again, don't be afraid to post, what are good schools in Dubai, what are good schools in Abu Dhabi, where do people work. People will answer you, and you can then research the school yourself and decide if it's for you. And when you have decided, I've actually want to work in this school, this school and this school, go directly, keep an eye on their website, keep an eye on their careers page, their job opportunities page, and they will post their vacancies there as well. So do definitely keep an eye on that. I'd also recommend, if you're going for Dubai, to look at Dubai Teachers Exchange. Every day I have seen posts up from different schools, different head teachers of schools. And you can also, if you're looking for work for GEMS, there's certain groups of schools, Talim GEMS, again I'll put links in the notes. You can look at their website, they've got a central process to apply for schools. Okay, so, but definitely start with Which School Advisor, look at your schools and decide then. Oh, brilliant. Hi Rosemary, how are you? Thank you so much. Hi Becca, thank you so much, very, very kind. Sorry, I don't know what I did there. Hi Chris, how are you? Recruitment fairs. I'm going to Manchester this weekend. Any advice? Recruitment fairs. Chris, it's your first time, I think, isn't it? Applying abroad. I definitely would go. I think why not? I will definitely have a list of questions prepared in advance, so you know exactly. Because as I said before, some teaching recruitment agencies are fantastic, and then some then are perhaps not so fantastic. And they, just be aware. I mean, they can only put you. They only have so many schools in the book, and they can only put you in those schools. Some are also recruiting for a ministry, and you may actually not know until the last minute where you're going to in the general country. So just, have your questions. Things like, can you tell me exactly where I'm going to go? Can you tell me the name of the school? What is the student body? What's offered in the teaching package? Are the students English first language speakers, or are they Arabic speakers? So lots of those kind of questions to be definitely prepared. But why not? I think if, have your interview practice, get used to the process, the more comfortable you get, the better you'll perform when it comes to your dream job. But I would just have your questions prepared. And if you have any questions, post them on the group or message me if you're unsure about anything that the recruiters say to you. Okay, now, best time to start looking at applying is from now, particularly from next month onwards. I know some schools already have started recruiting, but usually from February it really starts to heat up, February to maybe March, April. So you need to start prepping your CV, get your cover letter ready. I would definitely start off with creating a really outstanding CV. So make sure you show your skills, make sure you show your strengths, make sure you show your personality characteristics that would suit you to a job. I would definitely make something generic first, a generic cover letter, a generic that expands on your CV. So in your CV you've listed what you've done and what skills they've showed, and then the cover letter you can expand on that. But then you've something ready and concrete to use, so when it actually comes to applying for your different jobs, you can adapt it then as necessary to the schools. Okay, but definitely something generic prepared. Okay. Now, another question that I received during the week was about if you're coming out with a non-spouse, about finding a job for them too. One recommendation I would have would be to, on Facebook groups are absolutely fantastic. Find a group that's specific to your region. It could be a teachers group, it could be an Irish group if you're Irish, so Qatar Irish Society or Irish in Qatar. I can't remember. I'm a member, but it's really brilliant. It's a brilliant group. But different groups join up and post questions. That's so you can ask people who are already there, my spouse is involved in this industry. What are the prospects? What are the jobs? Any contacts? Please let me know. Put me in touch. Indeed as well, .ae, www.indeed.ae. That's also a great website for different jobs in the Middle East. And if I think of any more, I'll let you know. So what to think about when choosing a location to live in? My best advice would be to think about your own goals. Think about what your priorities are. Do you wish to travel? Do you wish to save? Do you wish to, do whatever your priorities are? Do you wish to, have great career progression, career advancement? Have a list of your priorities, and then I would narrow down. So, for example, for saving, I definitely would recommend the Middle East because it's tax-free and it's absolutely fantastic. And I find actually Middle East, you can have the best of both. You can do lots of travelling and you can also save. Again, Asia, you might pay a little bit of tax. And again, I'll put the link down below in my guide, Find Your Ideal Job, Teaching Job Abroad. It has a sort of a comparison, pros and cons, very rough pros and cons list. You need to do your own research too, using the podcast and everything else. But in Asia, you do pay a bit of tax, but then some places then are cheaper to live in, so it might all balance out eventually. Okay. Another reason when you're choosing a location to live, Google Map everything. Google Map everything. Any job you see, you like the sound of the ad, or whatever way you've gone to the recruiter, you get word of a job, you read the details, read the small print, where is it? Be absolutely sure you find out where it is, and you Google Map it straight away. Sometimes some people are told that a job is in Dubai, but actually it's in Sharjah, which is the next emirate over. And with traffic, it can take you up to an hour to drive in the morning. So Google Map everything. Also ask where's the school and then where's the accommodation, if they provide accommodation. Because again, they could be trying to save money and put you in accommodation that's very far away. And you need to know that, so for commuting times. And also make sure you're near, public transport if that's your priority, if you're near an airport. I know, particularly when I say location, I am thinking of China because it's such a massive country. And I know some people who've worked there, and, if you haven't Googled it, actually China and Korea as well, you might be put into a school that's, very, very isolated. No other expats there, no other English language speakers, and you may not speak the language. Very far away from trains, from airports. So again, I would really Google Map everything and just double check everything. Last one for location. Please check websites. Again, I'll put them below for cost of living. One is called Expatistan and one is called Numio. I'll put the links, and again you can compare the cost of living with where you live with the country you're looking at, so you get a general idea of what the rent is. So if they're giving you a rent allowance, you can then see what the average rent is, and also verify by asking in the Empowering Expat Teachers group as well, so we can give you a rough idea, because it can all change if you're sharing with somebody, if you're living on your own, what part of the city you live in. But do definitely give you a rough idea of what the price of groceries are, the price of renting a car, buying a car, petrol, rent, public transport, internet, electricity bills, and it's a brilliant resource. And then again, you can see what they're offering you. Could I live on that? Is that realistic? And then again, always feel free in the group. I'm going to ask that people don't mention school by names. I mean, I'd rather you ask more generic questions. If in a public group, if you do feel free to say, oh, I've been offered a job in Dubai, they've offered me X salary. You don't need to mention the name of the school, but is this sufficient? Is this adequate? Is this normal? And then I'll get back to you, or someone will get back to you and say, yes, this is, depending on your years, this is, slightly too low or whatever. Okay, or that's the perfect package, or we'll let you know. Again, next one, to find out how good the school is, I'm speaking for Dubai or UAE when I say Which School Advisor, a really great resource. There are other websites too. I think there's International Schools Review is one, but I think you might have to pay. But I'll put a link below, but maybe the first month is free. That again, you can get insights from Expat Teachers. So there's reviews, ratings, there's positive and negative ratings and why they were given. Again, I would read them. Wouldn't just use that, because sometimes some people are a bit disgruntled and they put quite negative, but use that in conjunction with with the podcast I've given you, with any opinions you get on the Empowering Expat Teachers Facebook page and any blog posts. Also, so again, do your research. Consult as many sources as you can to make your best decision, make an informed decision. Okay, the skills that head teachers abroad want in a teacher. So, hi Orla, thank you very much. Thank you. Chris, before I come to the skills, Chris, I've noticed in the comments where people have said they've been offered jobs after Skype or telephone interview, then not heard anything else. I think that may just have happened to me for school in Kuwait. Is this common? Not this where I'm aiming to be, but it's good interview experience. Yeah, absolutely, Chris, I completely agree. Do many interviews if you even have a little bit of interest in the job, because it's such good practice, because they do sort of ask the same questions, head teachers, because international schools require the similar sorts of skills, and it's really good to have that practice and feel comfortable when you're answering and sort of expecting it, have an answer prepared. That's a really bad form on the part of the school to offer a job after an interview and then hear nothing. I definitely follow it up, contact their HR. I would definitely email and see. Maybe they're so busy at the moment they've forgotten, or you've slipped through the cracks. But I definitely would contact them and ask them, could they reconfirm? Could they update? Could they follow up on your offer, or ask a question about the offer they sent you? Yeah, that's really bad form. But it is normal actually to do a Skype or telephone interview. It's very rare that people come in person. Although I have heard of some schools doing it, where they they offer a stipend towards your flight to come out, or they can be face to face if they go to the UK for a certain period of time. But generally speaking, a lot would do a Skype interview. Okay, hi Annie, thanks a million. Thank you for that. The skills that head teachers abroad want in a teacher. So this is based on experience. This is my experience, where I've applied for many jobs. I've gotten the majority of them. Some I accepted, some I turned down. And also from the podcast that will be published in the next few weeks with my a head teacher I knew, who recently retired from a prestigious British school in Qatar. And the skills there are lots. So enthusiasm, subject knowledge. They're also looking for somebody who is sociable. So, because do remember, it's slightly different to your school environment in the UK and Ireland, in that you work with your colleagues, you live with them usually, so you might be in the same block, you might be living in the same area, and you will socialise at the beginning, you will socialise with them a lot. You've left your families, you've come abroad, you're on your own, they do become a sort of your family. So you have to sort of be able to, be quite open and be open to that experience, I suppose, open-minded to new experiences. If you are starting in any school, but also particularly in the Middle East, make sure you research your culture, make sure you have an idea of what you're coming to. Sorry, I have no tripod, so I apologise if the phone's a bit shaky, it's just me holding it. Research your culture, know what you're getting into. Be aware there are many misconceptions about the Middle East. Apart from Saudi Arabia, you can still have the same life that you have at home for the most part, a great social life, go to the beach, etc. So do your research and don't believe any misconceptions, do be informed. Another skill he mentioned was about being maybe very flexible, so easing adapt. Things can change at the last minute, okay? So particularly in a new school, up-and-coming school, things can change at the last minute. So something that was meant to happen is cancelled, or something might go wrong with something, or different buildings, or you just need to be ready to sort of, not take it personally and just laugh and be flexible and just roll with it. That's what I definitely recommend to make your experience pleasurable, okay? And I have a list of other skills, but I will publish that once I have done the podcast and once you've listened, and then I'll publish more. What's it like to live and work in the Middle East? Absolutely wonderful. If you heard my podcast with Anne-Marie, who is an expat teacher in Doha, and of course I used to live in Doha, so she's a friend of mine, and we were reminiscing about Doha and the sun and everything. Both of us are so grateful for the Middle East. I have had the best time of my life. I have had amazing career progression. I've got a chance to do different roles. So I trained as a languages teacher, but I also done some English second language as well in the summers. They saw my CV. The head teachers, again, that I applied directly to, they had really took an interest. They read it carefully. They thought I'd be a really good fit for the school with my experience. We're starting a new English second language department in Qatar. I was employed there, and then I ended up being head of the secondary English second language. I also then wanted to go into do some career guidance. It's always been a dream of mine to go into doing advising for careers. And I was lucky that the school, part of professional development, did pay for some of my course, and I was able to do half timetable teaching, half timetable career advising. I mean, within like 4 years, and I just don't feel that would have been possible with the funding cuts and everything in the UK and Ireland. So I'm so grateful. I've met the most amazing friends. As I said, your friends become your family. You can make amazing connections with people that they know you inside out, and it's wonderful. And also, definitely, so it was personally, friendships, it's enhanced my life professionally with my career, and also the biggest one would be financially. It's given me the chance to be able to travel all around the world, but also to save consistently, to be able to treat my family, be able to buy tickets for my family to come visit me regularly. As I said before, I bought a house not in the UK, sorry, I bought a house in Ireland in my hometown, and I also did my master's last year, and that was all thanks to my savings that I had made. So I can't recommend it highly enough. Apart from Saudi Arabia, your life won't change drastically, I don't believe. Although I'm saying that as somebody who's not been to Saudi Arabia, but from what I've heard. But I've had people who'd worked there and they've absolutely loved it. So because there's compounds, and they absolutely loved, and said Saudi people are very, very friendly and lovely, and they loved it. So, but you'll have a great life here as well. There's like football, GA football if you're into that. There's brunches, there are clubs, there are like-minded people who want to go travelling, who are open-minded. You learn about a new culture. At the moment I'm in Dubai. Emiratis are so friendly. Qataris again, everyone's so welcoming and so kind. So can't recommend it highly enough. So definitely. Let me see. Okay, what is a good salary and teaching package? Again, I have created a resource on that. I'll put the link below. But on my website, www.circacoil.com, there's a tab that says products, and there's lots of free products there. And I've got one that's a checklist of what you should expect in an ideal teaching package. Just to give you a quick rundown, it's again your salary, of course. You should have rent allowance, or you should have accommodation provided. Sometimes it's furnished, sometimes it's not. You should have return flights to your home country at the beginning, definitely at the beginning and end of your contract, but also most include summer flights as well, so once a year to go back home. You should also have medical insurance or health insurance should be covered there too. Sometimes bills are included, but not always. Again, sometimes a shipping allowance is included, but not always. In Qatar, we had a shipping allowance when you first arrived and then when you left. But in Dubai, it's more commonplace to have a shipping allowance when you leave, but not when you arrive. Also, those of you with children, you should have up to 2 places provided for your children in the school you're teaching in, and that will either be free places or else partially funded. But do be aware, just be careful, because if you work in a local school, in a government school or an all Emirati school, your children most likely won't be able to attend, or may not be the best school for them. So you need to see and double check what the provisions are there. Is the allowance enough for the fees? Because the fees in the Middle East are quite high, and it would be a huge chunk of your money if they weren't provided, or you weren't given some kind of help with them by your employer. What else? Oh, yes, in the Middle East you also are entitled to a gratuity. So when you finish your contract, you're entitled by law to 21 days. If you fill your contract, you're entitled to 21 days gratuity. So that's like a bonus. So you're 21 days of your salary bonus. I know in Asia they also have something similar. I think Singapore have a similar system, similar gratuity system. And I know Malaysia, if you check out my podcast with Alice from Kuala Lumpur, she talks about the tax system and the fact that you contribute to a pension scheme, but you get it back at the end. So she gives an excellent explanation. So do listen to that. Cost of living really like? Okay, again, yes, Middle East can be quite expensive. Rent is quite expensive, but once again, it's provided for you with an allowance, or an apartment or villa is provided depending on your family situation, and that means that you've got that's at least covered, so you're not spending money on your rent. Bills, I think, are relatively cheap. Buying a car is cheap. Car rental can be expensive, so if you're planning to stay long term, the advice would be to buy a second-hand car. Petrol is cheap in the Middle East. It depends on your lifestyle. If you want to have, a life where you're going to 5 stars and hotels, brunches, you're going for drinks, not a happy hour where maybe they cost like 10 quid for a glass of wine or whatever, then yes, life can be very expensive. But I do believe there's a good balance. You can strike a good balance. I mean, there's Entertainer, which is an app where you get buy one, get one free on different restaurants, different events, different theme parks. So that's really, really helpful. You can also look on Groupon. Groupon.ae is amazing. So hotel stays, half price, etc. There's so many things to do. There's the public beach, Jumeirah Beach. There's parks. There's so many cheap things to do. Global Village. There's so many free or cheap things to do that I think if you have a good balance, your life you still should have a good standard of living, but yet you're still saving consistently. I mean, personally, what I would do if you really wanted to make the most of it on a financial level would be to in your head, have an amount that you want to save. So give yourself an estimate. I'm going to stay for 2 years, I'm going to stay for 3 years, 4 years. How much I want to save? Am I saving for a housing deposit? Am I saving for a master's? Am I saving for whatever it can be? Have that figure in your head, divide it by the months that you're going to be, here for. And then give yourself a rough idea of how much you're going to save. And like every money expert says, in your account when you get here, you have standing order, I think it's called, or a debit, where it's taken out of your account straight away. Whatever amount you want to save, it's taken out, and you live on that, and you'll find a way, and you'll still have a fantastic life. I would say initially at the start, you probably won't save for the first few months, because you're going out, you're experiencing new things, you're meeting new people, you're saying yes to everything, because you need to have a social life and make friends and everything. So give yourself that grace with a few months at the beginning. And then after that, once you settle in and you've bought your furniture and you've got your membership to the gym or whatever you need, then after that you can really start thinking about saving. So I think that's really all the questions I've covered. Is there anything else anyone would like to add? Let me see. Oh yeah, just before I get any more questions, I see Chris's zero question, and I'm going to answer that in 1 second. Please, thank you for tuning in, but please can you subscribe, www.circacoil.com, I'll put the link below. Could you please subscribe to my website, and if you subscribe to my newsletter, you'll get updates of most recent podcasts, blog posts, anything I publish, free products, so we can stay in touch. Please like and share my Facebook page with your friends if you find this useful. I think I will try and make it a weekly thing. I do apologise, this was quite long. I don't think the next ones will be as long, but thank you for staying tuned. Before I sign off, is there any other questions? So Chris, what situation with SEN schools, do they exist? That's a good question. I know in Qatar there's definitely at least 1 or 2, and I'll send you details of those in a private message. But in Dubai, let me get back to you about that, because you are eager to come to UAE, I think. So if we private message you, and I'll definitely find out for you. Do check which school advisor. They might have a function to filter schools down, so do check that first. But I know there's definitely some in Qatar, so I assume it's a similar situation here. But I will find out and get back to you, and maybe make a public post so everyone can see. All right? Last thing. Today I published a poll, and it just published, I think, when I should have been on Facebook Live to you. But it is a poll about how I can help you. So please let me know how I can help you. In the poll, if I can find it, let me go to publishing tools. It has a list of 5 or 6 topics that you feel would be helpful for me to cover. So I really want to make content that will help you. And the questions it asks, it is, here we are. So it's, yes. You can vote, so you have two options. You can either click on the poll and vote through the poll, or you can just leave a comment below on my page with the number. So each one is numbered. So topic 1 is understanding the British curriculum if you haven't trained in it, if you're a teacher who hasn't trained in the British curriculum. Any help to understand it. Topic 2, if you want some help with how to research schools in the Middle East and Asia. 3, how to create a CV that's personalised, memorable and not generic. 4, the topic is what to consider when choosing a location to live and teach. Topic 5, what questions you should ask a school if you get an interview. And 6 is the option, you can just state, is there any topic yourself? Just let me know. Type it in the comment section or in the poll. So that's on my, that just went up an hour ago on my Empowering Expat Teachers page. Hi, Ray. How are you? NQT's newly qualified teacher. Have you trained in the British system or the Irish system? It shouldn't really make too much of a difference, to be honest. If you're trained in the British system, fantastic. Again, same advice I've given everyone else. Get your CV together, get your cover letter, think about your skills, your talents, your experience, your positive traits, have them all ready and be able to transfer them to a CV and illustrate the things you've done. Think about all the things you've done in your career so far, form tutor, after school clubs, any your own extracurricular activities, because international schools, they really like you to do They really like to do activities after school. So if you can show what your extracurricular activities are yourself, your hobbies, your pastimes, if you're an avid martial arts expert, maybe you could do that as an after-school activity. If it's a sport, it could be a passion that you're, into yoga, whatever it can be. They'd really like to see that. Again, it makes it personalised as well. You stand out from the crowd. NQTs, yeah, similar thing. Have your CV ready. Go on to TES. A lot of schools, in the past, a lot of schools required 2 years experience teaching. I've checked recently, lots are happy to accept NQTs. Lots are happy to accept newly qualified teachers. So just check, go into TES, International Jobs, Guardian, and check their website and see what the requirements are. But yeah, don't forget to sell your skills. Think about all the amazing things you've achieved and make sure you note them and show that in your CV and a cover letter. Oh, thank you, Helen. Thanks a million. Hi. Oh, Ray, perfect. Yeah, you trained in the Irish system, no problem. Again, I would do some research. If you in the poll, if you want to click topic 1, understanding the British curriculum, if you haven't trained in it, depending on what your subject is, check with the school, because I know sometimes, even though it's the British schools, I know the British system in the UK have stopped doing national curriculum levels, but some of the British schools here still do national curriculum levels, so they haven't updated as quickly. But the content, the subject content is still pretty much the same. I can post some links to help you research. So, for example, if you're doing history, make sure you've researched the history curriculum of the UK, what topics they do, because obviously it might be different to ours if we've trained in Irish history, etc. But again, showing the willingness to learn, willingness to update your skills, the enthusiasm, passion for your subject and other qualities, you'll still be fine. Okay, so again, it's just to make sure you've researched the school, you've researched the subject you're teaching, even though you haven't trained, that you've got lots of evidence that you're very capable. You're a trained teacher, so regardless, you'll be able to teach any curriculum. All right. Yeah, so perfect, Sarah. Yeah, I think that's it. Any other questions? No, I think so. Thank you all for tuning in, and I'm so sorry about the lateness. Thank you all for your support. If you've anything, again, I'm going to say it again, please like my page. You already have. Please share it with your friends. I'm really eager to get in touch with groups of teachers who are in different teacher training colleges in Ireland and the UK. Please share my Facebook link on their group. If they're thinking about going abroad and they want some options, I would love if you could do that, especially. Any other WhatsApp, Facebook group that you're on with other teachers, please put the link in. Again, I'm an expat teacher myself. I work in the morning, unfortunately, but tomorrow is my weekend, which is fantastic. So, it's independent advice, it's impartial. It's there to help you. I've no ulterior motive. I don't get a commission from any school for recruiting or anything like that. So, so join us. Yeah, that's it. I think of everything. Yes, and I'll put in the links in the next half hour. So I'll put in the links that I've mentioned in the comment section. and also your freebie that will be on its way hopefully tomorrow. It's the updated 8 websites to apply to the UK, beg your pardon, the 8 websites to find your ideal teaching job abroad. Okay, so thank you so much for tuning in, and see you next week. Hope it's been helpful. Bye bye. Thank you. Bye bye.